everyone, and happy Friday. So hope you guys are enjoying sessions throughout this week. So I have been given 45 minutes, so without wasting time, I would like to get into the topic directly. So my name is Rama Krishnamurthy. I'm a senior program manager at Microsoft, and I'm driving the F&O data in CDS integration story. So how many of you are, this is going to be an interactive session as much as I can, possible then. After this session, I'm available for here to address all your questions because I have a lot of information to share, and it depends on you to gain that knowledge from me. So how many of you are F&O implementers? Okay, and how many of you are based out of or primarily working on CDS or CE, customer engagement applications? Okay, good to know that. So this is going to be an informational session for you. So this is how strategically Microsoft is heading towards. So this is the agenda for today. So before we get into the details, you need to know 4 definitions that is important, and this is associated to this topic. So first definition is Common Data Service. The short name is CDS. So it's an entity-based transactional system, and this is the system upon which the customer engagement applications like sales, marketing, customer service, field service, PSA, talent are built in. And this is also the platform upon which the Power Platform has been built in. Okay. And the second definition is the Common Data Model. So this is the schema definition of the data residing in CDS. And this schema definition has been stored as JSON files and hosted on GitHub. The third definition that you need to know is the Azure Data Lake. So this is slightly orthogonal to this topic, but still, this is worth understanding what this Azure Data Lake story means for you guys. So this is represented as a CSV files in ADSL Gen 2 storage. So F&O has 2 types of data, transactional data and analytical data. So analytical data goes into Azure Data Lake through trickle feed. So that's why you need to know this definition. The fourth definition is the lifecycle services. So since most of you are F&O customers, implementers, so you know what this LCS means. This is very important for this topic because the story is going to start in LCS. Okay. This is how F&O data in CDS and data lake holistically looks like. Okay, so in F&O, we have a lot of information, and it can cater to multiple industries. It's an ERP application in itself. And on the other hand, we have the CDS-based applications. Now, the number one is the mechanism through which we are exposing the F&O data on CDS. The near real-time experience is achieved through a mechanism called a dual write. That is number one. The second thing is the F&O data, which is, we are also exposing it on Azure Data Lake through trickle feed. And this is essentially used for handling your analytics. And if you want to have, your big data analysis and whatnot, along with the F&O data, so then you'll be using the number 2. There is a third arrow which is available. We call this service as Athena. I don't know how many of you know about it. So there are all these 1, 2, 3 sessions are happening in Ignite. So if you missed to attend any of the session, go ahead and look at the recording. So the information that is residing on CDS, like there could be some, you may have some cases, or you may have some marketing campaigns that you would like to analyze the data. So through the number 3 Athena service, you can propagate the data into customers, the data lake, and then you can analyze the data. Okay, so this is how holistically the architecture looks like. Now, the topic for this meeting is number 1, which is F&O data in CDS via dual write. Okay, so the strategy which we are using here is to make F&O play nicely with CDS. So F&O is an age-old system, as well as CE, customer engagement applications like CRM applications, sales, marketing, customer service. These are all age-old applications. So we have to make these two play nicely with each other so that the data can be, both the systems are interacting with each other beyond application boundaries. So that is the strategy. We are following some key design principles which we have not been doing so far all these years when we are saying that, hey, data is going to integrate or interact with each other. So that is we are harmonizing the concepts between these two applications. So say for example, you have, when you talk about customers or products or sales orders or quotations, both these concepts are residing both in CE as well as in F&O, right? Now, when we are saying, hey, we are making these two systems to play nicely with each other, we are actually harmonizing the concept so that people have a single story end of the day, okay? And so once you have this interaction in place, then user may not require any training in order to use their system, because even though the interaction is happening between these two systems, it has been made in such a way that the users will be using the system as and when they were using all these years, but behind the scene, the solutions that we are providing would be able to handle the interaction. It's going to be an out-of-the-box experience for administrators. That's where the LCS story comes into picture. So when you are installing or provisioning your F&O instance as part of the F&O life cycle, you will be provided an option to enable dual write as an opt-in experience. So it's a couple of clicks that you need to click through and say, hey, I want to dual write, say okay, and then it will ask you for, hey, do you want to connect it with your existing CDS instance, or do you have a new CDS instance in place? So it will ask for a couple of questions. You have to answer those questions, and end of the day, once the process is done, dual write will be set up for you on the fly. And once the setup is ready, system will be available for you for doing the live sync. Okay, so that is the experience we are heading towards. So once again, if F&O data is available on CDS, it opens the gates for Power Platform. The key benefits that you get is, you would have heard about people talking about digital feedback loops. People would have talked about One Dynamics 365 user experiences. So all this you will get through dual write. So when we talk about making F&O data available on CDS, there are two approaches that we have that are available today. So one is the asynchronous data integration approach. This is the approach we released late last year. Internally, we call this as a classic DI. So if you are talking to any of your internal Microsoft team, if you may need to quote the name called classic DI, so people understand it very well. Behind the scenes, it is using the DIXIF framework, and this is suitable for moving the data in one direction in bulk. This is going to be an administrator-led experience. This is not a near real time, and again, it's going to be a scheduled job. How many of you are part of the preview program that we have in place? Okay, so how many of you are using prospect to cache functionality that we released late last year? Okay. So that prospect to cache functionality has been exposed as an asynchronous integration solution. What we are heading right now is towards the synchronous data integration approach. Okay, so this is the code word for the synchronous data integration approach is dual write. So behind the scenes, OData is a mechanism that we are using, and this is going to give a synchronous bi-directional near real-time experience for data interaction. This is going to be an out-of-the-box experience, and the platform has been made to be extensible. So if you have custom code or a custom logic, you can very easily plug in. And if you have custom entities where you want the same interactivity to be established, it's just a few button clicks. You don't need to write any code. Okay, so the platform has been made extensible. So that is the platform, but when it comes to the business process orchestration, we have a lot of different kinds of data like master data, reference data, documents are available, right? So that is where we are, whichever is converging stories between F&O and CE, whatever entities or data behind the scenes is required, that is what is targeted for dual write. Okay. So, if you are part of the preview program, we have already released 65 entities for preview. That covers customers, vendors, products, organization, finance and tax setup functionalities. More are coming soon. They are work in progress at this point. Now, let us get into dual write. So, dual write has two aspects. One is the platform aspect, another one is the application orchestration aspect. Okay. So, from the platform aspect, assume that we have a CDS instance on one side and we have FNO instance on other side. Both these systems have entities, and we as Microsoft will be providing you or releasing a bunch of maps out of the box in order to move the data across systems. And whenever there is a CRUD operation happening, a create, update or delete operation happening on CDS side, if there is any standard business logic residing on that system, it will automatically kick in and the validations takes place. So, if you have any custom logic built in, it will be automatically invoked. Once that custom logic completes, that is where the dual write plugin that we are releasing will be able to sense, and it consumes the mapping that we have released out of the box, as well as if you have any customizations on top of the mappings, that will be taken into consideration. And then this dual write plugin sends the information to FNO. Now, FNO would like to play back the same information. So, FNO being a very robust system, it may have some validations logic built in. So, say for example, address validation is already there, price calculation is already there. So, you do not need to resurface or rewrite the same information in the presence of dual write. Okay. So, that logic will kick in automatically, and then FNO will say, hey, things are good, we are able to create the same information on FNO side, and that is when dual write will commit the transaction or the operation on one side. Okay. So, this is the story when a CRUD operation is happening on this or originating on the CDS side. The same thing will happen when an action or event is happening on FNO side. I will show you in the demo, where if a CRUD is happening on the FNO side, similar to CDS, like the standard business logic or any ISV validations that you have in place will automatically kick in, and that is where we have a dual write handler that we are releasing, would be able to sense that operation, as well as it will take make use of the mapping that is in place, and then it will send the information back to CDS, and then CDS will try to mimic the same, and then when things are good, a commit transaction, a commit event will happen. Okay. So, this is going to happen within a single transaction scope, and that is the reason you will be seeing the near real time experience. Now, there could be some corner cases where you may ask, hey, what if one system goes down, and what if or if some of the industries like retail stores, they may choose to operate in an offline mode because of some business reasons, right. So, if that is the case, the platform has been enabled to fall back to the asynchronous mode, okay, and it will do things will pile up, and then once the connectivity is restored or you enable the connection, it will automatically do a catch up, and then once the catch up happens between the systems, the system will automatically turn into live mode. Okay. I will show you a demo about the platform aspect. So, this is finance and operations UI, and then within finance and operations there is a module called a data management. When you get into it, you will see a button called a dual write. So, this is the dual write UI. So, this is the admin page for the administrators to either create a connection, or these are the out of the box maps that we will be releasing. You may have some custom maps based on your business requirement, and this is the location where you can go and manage your maps. So assume that you can see the status of the maps. Okay, so assume that a map is not running, you can click on it and run it. If a map is already running, you can go ahead and stop. There is a play pause scenarios or functions that we are releasing. Now if there is running with some errors, you can see that error messages here. Okay, so click on it, you will see the error messages. Okay, now this is the admin experience. Now assume that you have some information that you want to add on top of the out of the box maps that we are releasing. Then click on the map, you can go to the entity mapping. So, so say for example, we are releasing or covering 20-25 attributes out of the box, and you as a a customer may require a couple of more information to flow through. Then you can open the map and then you can click on add mapping. That will create some empty attributes for you. Then go ahead and then you can say, hey, which new field that you want to add to this map. So you can add one or more maps, one or more attributes, and then click on save, refresh entities. This information gets propagated to F&O and CE, and then once the save happens, the system is will be able to synchronize this data. So assume that you have, so we as Microsoft are releasing some 200 to 250 entities for you to move the data. Now if you have, if you require a couple of new information to be propagated, which is not covered out of the box, then click on the add entity button. Then you would be able to pick and choose which entities that you want to add to dual write. And once again that new entity is available, change the status to running, then the live sync mode will start for that custom entity. The dual write connection can be made between one F&O instance and one CDS instance, or one F&O instance to multiple CDS instances. Now when you are making the connection, you can also pick and choose what legal entities of F&O should be connected to what CDS instance. We are also providing an ability to manage your own integration key. So say for example, some businesses, some customers may use X as the integration key, and some customers may identify, say, account number as the key information to identify a customer. So you can pick and choose what is the integration key that you want to use for this dual write. So this is the admin experience overall. So dual write as a platform, when we are launching this dual write platform, these are the capabilities, platform capabilities that we would be covering. So near real time experience, I will show a demo shortly. And then yes, it will support for initial data synchronization. What it means is that I showed you a list of entity maps, right? So when you enable an entity map to run, behind the scenes, the data, the initial data will automatically synchronize between these two systems. Okay, so you don't, if you have very less, so say for example, few thousands of records in F&O and CE, and if you are enabling the dual write connection or sync, the data will automatically synchronize. You don't need to do data migration. Okay, but if you are going to handle so millions of records, or few thousands, or few hundred thousands of records, dual write is not the approach, because behind the scenes it's using the OverData API. So we would highly recommend you to go through proper data migration before enabling dual write. And then the platform is capable enough to handle the live sync, play pause capabilities, and also we are providing an ALM story where each and every entity map has been versioned. Okay, So you can handle more than one version at a time. We will have the capability, we will provide you the capability to import and export the maps from one environment to another environment, or one tenant to another tenant. And then it will have the solution awareness capability, and then knowing that the entities are interrelated, there are a lot of relationship built between the entities. We are providing the ability to view the dependencies for a given entity. So say for example, in order to create a customer, you may need to have a customer group as a mandatory information, right? So those dependencies you can visually see, and then you would be able to enable or interact with them intelligently. So and then we are providing the ability to configure thresholds and then alerts. So say for example, if you want to, if the system is not responding and providing say 5 errors in 5 seconds or 50 errors in an hour, and then within if that is the threshold that you want to set it up, and post which you want the system to automatically fall back to the asynchronous mode, okay? And then once things are, the error has been fixed, you want the live sync to happen. So that is something that is possible with the platform, okay? And then as I showed you, the platform has been made extensible, so it supports custom entities as well as custom maps. So data movement, yes, you have been doing this data movement through various methodologies so far, okay? So that is not a real issue here, because we have been moving the data from one system to another system in a different ways. Like we have FNO connector available, we have multiple others connectors available, or third party solutions available, okay? So what is very hard is we have two different concepts in both the systems. So how are we harmonizing the concept is the hardest part, right? So we are addressing that as well. So here is an example of how we are harmonizing the concept. So on CE side, so this is an example of the product data model that we have on CE. So CE, like customer engagement applications like sales, marketing, customer service, field service. So these are all lightweight SaaS applications built on CDS, and these have very primitive functionality when it comes to concepts. So what you see is the product data model that is residing in or provided by CE. Now on the other side, we have FNO. So this is the complex product data model available in FNO, okay? It's not in a human readable format, we all know, right? That is because of the fact that FNO, you can do many things with FNO, right? So it supports 5 types of products, like it could be an individual product or a distinct product like a Surface Book, a water bottle or a sunglass and or a baseball. Or you can have a product having variants, like a t-shirt having a size, color, style, configuration. You may want to price them or handle them differently based on different variations of the product. Or you can have a set of raw materials, and then you can create your own bill of material, a finished good out of the raw materials and sell it to the market. Or you can have a product bundle, like a Surface Book having all the subscriptions, everything installed together, and you may want to sell that as a single product all time. Or you can have product kit, like you can put multiple products, bring multiple products together and sell it as a kit. And once the promotion or discount is over, you just unwrap it and sell it as individual products. So essentially with the FNO product data model, you can sell anything from a scrap to a finished good, or irrespective of the nature of the product, whether it's a physical goods or a digital device or a virtual product or consignment stock, right? So this is the abstracted data model looks like, and that is the reason it has been so complex. Now what we are doing in terms of harmonizing the concept is, like one of the design principles, if you remember, harmonize the concept without deviating the natural flow of the business. So this is how we are harmonizing the product data model. So we have harmonized product models available for customers, vendors, pricing, and sales orders and whatnot. I can share that information with you if you are interested to know after this meeting. So this is how the harmonized product data model looks like for product. Now, when we are putting this or making this complex data model available on CDS, you can take advantage of the Power Platform, right? I will show you a demo. So I will show you how we are harmonizing the customer experience. So what you see is one side I have the finance and operations UI opened up, and on the other side, I have the CE, the sales application opened up. So what I'm going to do is, like, assume that I'm a sales representative. I'm going to wear the hat of a sales representative, and my primary mission is, or system is, D365 for sales. So assume that I'm working for Contoso Electronics, and I want to make a deal with the customer called say Adventure Works. So this company concept was not existing or doesn't exist in CE, but as part of dual right we are bringing in company concept. And if you remember, when I showed you the dual right connection that I made, you can pick and choose one or more companies, and the data from F&O will flow to CDS. So this synchronization happens in sub-seconds. So assume that I'm a finance manager working, handling the financial data for Adventure Works. Then what I would do, I'll come here, I may add some invoice addresses or invoice account number for this customer, because this customer is immediately available on that other system. Or if I have, if I'm into the retail business, and if I'm a store associate, I may want to assign some loyalty card information. I may want to add some information for this customer, which is automatically surfaces on CE immediately. Okay, so that is the experience. So irrespective of multiple users interacting on two different systems, behind the scenes the data has been integrated, and it gives one system experience. The story that we are building or suggesting for products is, so you saw the humongous data model and how we harmonized. So the story that we were, we are suggesting for the people who are using both F&O and CE in their business ecosystem is, please use F&O as your product master. So please onboard your products and embellish the products in F&O. Make that as a product master, because of the advantage that of the the complex data model that it has in place. And also it is the complex data model is complemented with the pricing, on-hand inventory information, other information, trade agreements and whatnot associated with the product, right? So assume that I'm a merchandiser, and I have access to finance and operations, and then I'm going to add products in F&O. So once the product is created in F&O, it becomes immediately available in CE, so that as part of the sales motion, you may want to create a quotation or a sales order for that, or for using that product. You can do it immediately. So this is the sales application, you all know. So inside the sales application, I create an order and then I try to add the product that I created in F&O. It becomes available immediately. Now you have your sales order ready inside CE, right? So this is the experience, seamless experience we are making available for you guys. So please take advantage of this technology. So not only that, okay, so yeah, I would like to, so I have other, one more demo I can show you later if you are interested. So, if there is, say for example, address validation functionality is available on F&O side. Now, if CE doesn't have a brain, you can enter any address information like a wrong zip code information, CE will happily accept, right? So just because you have a validation available on F&O, since there is a live connection existing between F&O and CE, the error messages thrown by F&O surfaces on CE saying, hey, you have entered a wrong zip code, hey, you have entered a wrong country information, please go ahead and correct. So this allows the sales users or the users on the other side to take immediate action and remediate. Okay, so that is the advantage of having the live sync in place. Okay, so this is how our roadmap looks like. So I would like to spend a couple of minutes here. So if you see, we want to make F&O play nicely with CDS, right? And finance and operations, even though it has been split into 3 different applications, small applications like finance, D365 for finance or D365 for supply chain, and D365 for commerce, okay? It covers 27 or 28 surface areas in total, and we want to cover all those surface areas and make sure wherever the convergent story is there or wherever the data is more meaningful and helpful for the customers on CDS, we are exposing them. So read this the bricks from left to right and from bottom to top. So that is the order of execution that we have in place. So we, when we initially started, we split this work into 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. So phase 1 from the application standpoint, like if you are part of the preview program, you can experience all this functionalities. The LCS story is something which is completed, but we are doing some internal testing before we release to the preview team. Now, the phase 1, which covers the master data scenarios and supporting functions, is already available for you. You can experience this if you are part of a preview program. I would highly recommend you guys to become a part of the preview program and take advantage of it. So each phase is bringing you a definite value propositions. So if you are part of the preview program, you can see that we are enabling the multi-mastering scenario for customers. So some of the businesses, the SMB sales motion starts in CE, and for some of the customers are in retail business where the customer data flows through the retail channel. So behind the scenes, irrespective of where the data is residing, customer data is integrated. You can master the customer data anywhere, and you can take advantage of this multi-mastering capability. And then along with that customer information, we are providing some availability of the loyalty cards, like loyalty cards and reward points are there. And if your business requires that functionality, that is also available. Then unified product mastering experience is what I showed you. And then we are we are introducing company concept in CE. Along with that, the organizational hierarchy that you configure in F&O has been made available on CE. Okay, And then when we talk about vendors, CE doesn't have an explicit concept called vendor. So either people overload the existing account concept to store the vendor information, or they are using custom solution to to accommodate the supply chain activities. Now, as part of this dual right, we are explicitly introducing a vendor concept, because this is going to complement the purchase order or purchase requisition flows that we will be introducing in phase 2. Okay. So, and then we are exposing financial and tax reference data on CDS, and then we have an out of the box setup experience that is coming through LCS. Okay. So, this is the phase 1 value propositions that we are providing. As part of phase 2, we are bringing in pricing model. So, F&O has 2 types of pricing engines. One is the SCM pricing engine, another one is the retail pricing engine, right. In CDS, we have only one type of price called price list item price, okay, and that is tied to one currency. So, we are exposing, as part of dual right, we are harmonizing the concept, and we are exposing F&O pricing as an on-demand pricing functionality. So, along with that, whosoever is there in the already using prospect to cash functionality today in an asynchronous fashion. So, we are making the same functionality available in synchronous fashion. And then when it comes to the asset management, we have an asset management functionality available in F&O called, which uses the in-house assets. We have field service on the other hand, which is used for servicing the customer assets, right. So, we are bringing an integration between these two, so that the in-house assets are available in field service, so that the field service can create work orders for those in-house assets, and the field service agents can service both in-house assets as well as customer assets. Okay. And the financials will flow back to D365 for finance. You can see the revenue, work orders being processed and whatnot. So, that is the story that we are bringing in for you. And then integrated prospect to cash, procure to pay experience. So, you know what the procure to pay experience is. So, today we do not have a good story, even though a kind of purchase order functionality available on field service. So, we are integrating the F&O purchase order functionality with the field service purchase order functionality. So, if you are having access to your, if you are using the field service mobile application, and you are handling your work orders, purchase orders and whatnot, you would be able to handle or interact with F&O data through those mobile applications. And then next one is the integrated activities and notes concept. So, whenever you are interacting with customers, customers usually expose some information that are actionable, some are just information purpose only. So, those actionable information are called as activities. Okay. So, if you are a CE user, you may know activities of type events or appointments or tasks and whatnot. These are tightly integrated with Outlook and Exchange Server. So, this we have similar concept available in F&O as well, but it is not tied to the Outlook as interactively as CE. So, that is one of the important good aspect that we have in CE, and we are integrating these two together, so that the F&O users can take advantage. They can manage customers' emails, events and tasks, and as well as the notes. So, say for example, you can take some notes about a customer, about his sales orders and whatnot, and then supply that information to your supply chain activities team, so that they can take care of when they do the supply chain delivery and shipping and whatnot. So, that is the integration we are bringing in, and then we are exposing the on-hand inventory information of the product on CE at the product level and sales order level. So, before a sales associate raises a quotation or an opportunity, he can see, hey, how much inventory I have for a specific product, and this information will come from F&O surface on CE, so that the sales associate can take intelligent decision, and that they can calculate the ATP dates based on that. And then project to cash, this is the PSA F&O integration. So, you can create projects inside your PSA, and then you can have your actuals realized inside FNO, and then those actuals, project actuals will surface in PSA automatically for you. So that is the phase 2 value propositions that we are bringing in, and similarly there is a phase 3, whereas the retail is a component. Like I don't know how many of you are into retail business or dealing with retail customers. Okay, so this is something that should be interesting for you. And then comes the worker. Worker is nothing but the HR, core HR or talent integration with FNO. Okay. And then resource management. So we have in field service called bookable resources. Similarly, you have the same. Worker can be considered as a resource, right? And then the same resources can be assigned to a project when you are creating a project in PSA, and then assign those resources to the different project tasks, so that eventually will get into FNO in order to do some expense management, or in order to do the reconciliation, and then generating financials for it. So that is the story, end-to-end story that we are targeting, and the majority of the cases we are using dual write. Couple of scenarios may not be dual write, like when we are exposing on-hand inventory, we are exposing it as a microservice. Okay. So not everything is dual write, but majority of this is dual write. Okay. So this is the roadmap that we have in place, and you can see the progress. So we are heavily investing as Microsoft, and this is going to be the next step for our customers. If you want to enable digital feedback loops, if you want to get one Dynamics 365 user experience, stick to this. Now, people may ask for licensing questions. Hey, how is it going to change my licenses? If you have a valid FNO license that covers the P2 license, then you are entitled to enable dual write for free. Okay. And then you can establish a live connection between FNO and CE instance. Data is going to flow seamlessly across systems. But if you want to interact that data through UI, then you may need to have application license for the specific application. Like if you want to interact, if you want to, a sales user, you want to log into sales application, and then you want to create some sales orders, which needs to propagate to FNO. So you need to have the sales license, and that is existing even today. There is no change in that. So call to action. So now it's the time that we are heavily investing as Microsoft on dual write, and this is going to give you a near real-time experience, a seamless interaction across all applications, all products. So when I explained to you about the roadmap, I covered sales, right? I covered PSA, HR, and multiple other products. So this is going to cover all converging scenarios between FNO and CE. So if you are using dual write, stick to it. If you are not using dual write, please enroll to our preview program, and then you can experience majority of the things that we have already released. We are available as part of insider program, which you guys are aware of. And then if you have, based on your FNO licenses, you will be entitled for a fast track program as well. Okay, so with 1 minute left, please evaluate this session. I'm happy to answer all your questions. Any question for me?
Can we update the maps with the custom entities? For example, if I create a custom entity in engagement and that entity is not present in FNO, we need to create that in FNO and then map it?
Correct. So the question is, hey, if I have a custom entity on one side and I don't have the custom entity on another side, how can I enable dual write? Yes, if you have a custom entity on one side, you have to create the same custom entity on another side as of now, and then you have to enable dual write by creating a map for it. But the future aspiration for us is, irrespective of where you create the entity, in the presence of dual write, the setup will happen automatically, but we are not there yet.
Right now, it supports any number of custom entities. Like there is
Yeah, there is no cap in how many custom entities you can have. Any other question? Yes, please. Yes. Yeah. So the question is adding a custom ability to add a custom entity, is it part of PU30? Yes, it is. Any other question? It's okay. If not, yeah, I'm available outside, or you can reach me at ramashri@microsoft.com. I have my card, business card kept here. So if anyone wants to reach me later in the day or afterwards, please pick my card and you can reach me out. I make sure I answer as much as I can. And thanks everyone. Thanks for your time.